Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
Well, it's not really tonight. It's not vital, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning, depending where you are in the world. For me, it is 7:01 here in the beautiful hills of Samira. I hope everyone is well. I am looking forward to this watch-along. This is a bit of an experiment. I have a set number of things I watch every year in the Christmas period. There's this on Blue Carbuncle. It's Bad Santa. There's Elf, Red Sleigh Down. There's the South Park, the South Park Christmas episode where what was it? I think Jesus is a combat veteran who goes in to save Santa. I do enjoy that. I'm not sure everybody on the panel is on board for that. And we have a large panel tonight, and a panel that may even get larger. But before we do that, can I say hello? I'm not going to say hello to Charlotte Shields because she's on the panel. I'm going to say hello to her in person in a second. Daniel, how are you doing? Good evening, Poppy Twist. I haven't seen you before. Poppy, nice to meet you. Unless if you've been here before, then I'm sorry, disaster. So again, I want to start in about 15 minutes. The episode is available on YouTube, but it is blocked if you're in the UK. If you need access to a copy, please let me know. I will. I can't put it in the chat because I have the episode on my Google Drive, right? So just let me know. I'll send you a link to that. There will be a bit of confusion though, because there is a 54-minute version. Jonathan Cox, how you doing? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. There is a 54-minute version, which I have. That's a full version, and there's a 51-minute version on YouTube. So I'm going to try and play both simultaneously, and when they jump, I'm going to try and sync them all up together. If anybody's on the longer version, I'm going to tell them where to go. Oh, look at that. YouTube just sent out a notification after I started. There you go. That's very nice. So fine, let me introduce you to everybody we have on the panel. Firstly, we have a fellow man on the cloth. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, hit the like button, hit the share button, but mostly hit that subscribe button. I do like it when people subscribe. I'll get all the channel announcement stuff over first. If you subscribe, you can enter any of my weekly competitions. We got a bit of a fun one this week. We have the Rabbi from Another Planet's Christmas stocking. It's a group prize where we're having more things added each day into the Christmas stocking. I think we're going to give it away on December 26th. So the first thing we added in, because again it's Christmas, and it doesn't get much more Christmassy than a good James Bond movie, Quantum of Solace on Blu-ray. You also get this James Bond game, which is, it's a kind of stupid shoot 'em up game, but it's fun. It's James Bond. Weird though. You're playing Daniel Craig, playing Sean Connery. It's a bit weird. You got this game in the Christmas stocking. It's Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams game. I liked it. It got panned, but I enjoyed it. Okay, this thing everybody agrees is good. Everybody likes this thing. It's called the Nth Doctor. It's a book of all the Doctor Who movies not made. I think up until 96. So this is interesting. You got who was it? You got Leonard Nimoy's take on Doctor Who, which is pretty good. You have this thing, which is an audio story, countermeasures with the Movellan maneuvers, kind of a Doctor Who-y 1970s esque ITV series. If you understand all those references, you know what it is. And finally, the thing we added today, Red Dwarf Back to Earth. Red Dwarf Back to Earth. Now we're adding new prizes every day. And again, the prize draw is going to be on Saturday. So all you need to do to win it, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, and in the comments leave the hashtag Merry Christmas. One and all. Merry Christmas. I was doing the videos today. I totally forgot what it was. Fine. Let me introduce you to the panel. So firstly, we have with us Father Christopher Miller. Father Christopher Miller, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. I'm kind of kicking myself because after last week's stream, I ended up buying Scrooged. And then 2 days later, I found it on Blu-ray after I opened up the DVD.
Oh, you actually had the Blu-ray?
No, I didn't have the Blu-ray. I never had the DVD, so I bought it. And then I see it on Blu-ray.
Well, I always go for the highest quality one. Is the puppy part of the giveaway, sisters? No. No. Okay. Puppy news. Just so you know, the puppy, we found out, when we got him, her, they said, it's like 3 weeks old. It's kind of like a rescue dog. This thing's freaking gorgeous. Teeny tiny. But then we took him to the vet. The vet's like, Well, firstly, it's illegal if it's 3 weeks. You can't take it from the mother. But secondly, it's not 3 weeks. This dog has teeth. And so she's got to be at least 5 weeks. Turns out the dog is 6 weeks old and it's insanely cute. It's insanely cute. My wife has basically been trying to force my daughter down the aisle with anyone to get grandkids. This is what she's going to be filling her time with for the next couple of years until that happens. Christopher Solar, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. And remember, everybody click the like button, click the share button. Mostly click that subscribe. Assuming you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. Joining us also, we have Problem Being. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm very well. I am so jealous of Puppy. I want Puppy.
Cute. Puppy's very cute.
Super cute. Yeah, I'm going to have a slight issue tonight because I'm rendering away and like my screen is so jerky. So I'm going to have to go on my iPad to watch the film.
Fine, so
I have to mute myself.
From my Google Drive, will that do the trick?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just that because I have my headphones plugged into my mic, which is plugged into my computer, I have to play the movie on my iPad, which doesn't have headphones. So I'm going to have to mute myself and sort of pop in with the odd comment now and again.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. You don't be shy. Don't be shy. Here, one second. I got a new puppy video that I like on my family WhatsApp. My kids have been saying, "Send us more videos," because none of them are home. One second. Did that come through? It said it did. Well, where to go? Let me go over here. It says over here. Doink. Fine. So when that shows up, we'll watch more puppy time. Also joining us from Home Media Mindveld is Keith Ailes. Keith. Normally Keith British Isles. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, very well. Thank you. My go-to things for Christmas viewing is always Blackadder's Christmas Carol, which is an absolute classic. The bottom season 1 Christmas episode.
I gotta check that out.
Quality.
And this film here. Yes. Which is going to be the next
Phoebe Cates when she was still Phoebe Cates.
Indeed. So those are my Christmas viewing essentials. Indeed. But I did enjoy this episode of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Very, very good, because I'd not seen this one. So thank you for introducing me to that.
Are you familiar with the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes? Have you seen them? I grew up with them.
One or two, yeah. It wasn't something that I particularly watched at the time. But I am I do like Sherlock Holmes, and obviously we've got plenty of options to choose from, so it was good to watch this.
We haven't had a new one for quite a number of years. Oh, there he is. I was going to bring him in.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Well, so let me bring on everybody else first, so you can go ooh at the same time.
Too much.
Dan, how are you, sir?
Hello, everybody. Oh, show us your puppies. How are things? Merry Christmas, everybody. Ho, 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 ho.
Season's greetings, one and all, which is one of my favorite lines. And finally joining us, I think Ninja Knight is also going to be dropping in. I gave them to other people as well. Charlotte Shields, how are you?
Hello.
Okay, fine. We'll do a little bit of puppy watch. 1 second.
Oh.
Puppy watch.
Oh, look at you. Oh, that's so adorable.
Been up with a puppy since 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's so cute. It doesn't matter.
He's teething. I found out I'm not allowed to let her do this because my wife was asleep, but she's the responsible one. Thank you.
Oh, look at you. Oh.
Fantastic stuff.
So cute.
Oh.
It's too cute.
And then I have to take some film when she has a little cry. She's like,
oh, it's the worst sound in the world. I will fight anybody. A dog crying is the worst sound in the world.
Oh,
this is so cute. This crying. This is because she's like, there you go.
That's not cute. That's sad.
What?
That's not cute. That's sad if a puppy makes those noises.
So little, she can't even cry yet. She's
okay.
And she does that and so she woke up at like 4 a.m. My wife took her out to go to the bathroom. She's like, "What the hell? I'm outside. I like being inside where it's warm." She wasn't happy about that.
Does she have a name yet, Rabbi? The dog, not your wife.
Listen, we options. We are. Daisy was the first name that we really went for. Funnily enough, I started calling her Sadie because I got Daisy wrong. And Sadie's just the kind of fit, right? Sadie, I don't know. And they were thinking Lucy, but all the kids are home on Friday, so I think we'll have a family naming.
I like Sadie.
So I like Sadie too. My wife doesn't go for it. Kelly says it's the Rabbi. Kelly says I love that puppy because that puppy is freaking gorgeous. I hope you hear it also enjoy the episode. Now again, I'm going to ask anyone in the chat: do you need a link to the episode? Because it's on YouTube, it's in the video chat, it's in the video notes.
I still can't find the damn thing. Let's go. It's in the video. It's in the link to the description to the video.
No. That one doesn't work in the UK. It's blocked in the UK.
Yeah, so you're probably blocked, Dan.
So I'll send you a link.
Story of my life.
My Google Drive.
Go in the private chat. I put a link.
Yeah, Keith's put it in there already.
Well, I couldn't see it. Maybe it's.
I couldn't see it either. That's so
no,
weird.
I haven't got that either. Maybe it's
weird.
Maybe something's. Yes,
weird.
it's the Gremlins. Yes, those Gremlins, Keith.
There you go. Yeah.
I've just sent it to you. Does anybody else need it?
I'm sorted. You sorted me out before, so.
No, I'm probably. I sent. Did I send it to you earlier? I can't remember.
Yeah, I got the link from Keith, so I'm just I got it downloaded on the iPad there.
Fine. And then okay, fine. So I think that's if Ninja Knight turns up, I will give him the link again. So what's going on in the chat? Does Poppy Twist says yes, I need the link. Poppy, how can I contact you? Are you on Twitter? Yeah, go to @BiblicalComics on Twitter and say hello to me. I will send you a link. There you go.
Was really weird. It was really weird. On Amazon, they've got them all except this episode, which I found really odd. Yes,
that's very strange.
I was like, what? Why has it not got the episode I need?
They knew you were coming. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
So Hamdoni is saying they're really pushing the Doctor Who advertising on ABC. That means what, you're in Australia?
Well, I tell you what, on BBC, it's literally only advertised as like, do you know the trailer with everything put in anyway? It doesn't. It's not got its own trailer.
Really?
No. God.
Dan will
I
know
thought you were
what
going to
I
say
mean.
I haven't got a TV license anymore, so I don't watch the BBC. But I can imagine for a moment I thought you were going to say like there was an advert going on saying like New Year's Day, if you've got jack all else to do, this is on. But I wouldn't put it past them.
I think it's going to do so badly. I really do. I mean, even on the best, even if it was good, I think it will do badly. Fine. So, Poppy Twist, I'm just waiting for you to get in contact with me, and I'll send you a link. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Or are you? Can I give it to you email? Or like, how do I contact you to send you this link?
I think it's on BritBox. At least over here in America, it's on BritBox.
If you're in America, it's on BritBox. If you're in America, the YouTube link probably works as well.
Yeah, the YouTube link worked for me.
No, it works for me here in.
How ironic that we can't get the British series in the UK. There you go.
I've got the box set.
That is very British, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yes.
So how's everybody doing with their festive plans in lockdown? Did anybody have to like rearrange?
Yes, I am now stuck in London as opposed to going and cooking my parents' Christmas dinner. That's not happening now, unfortunately. On lockdown in London.
I thought you could have like two households together.
No, we're in tier 4, so we're
literally last night you changed it all, so nothing's going
like it
should.
Yeah.
Well, what is it now?
We're all forbidden from breathing in, but we can breathe out.
Okay, fine. Poppy, I just sent you a link to my Facebook page. Can you message me through that, and I will send you a link straight away. Anybody else need a link to this episode?
I've got it now. Thank you, Rabbi.
There you go. Speak once and forever hold your peace. I have to tell you, I actually kind of prefer the 51-minute version. The 54-minute, it's kind of like it's pure padding, right? I was doing a bit of research on this episode, and like the story, the Conan Doyle story starts about 15 minutes in, and also it was set on the date range was from December 22nd, and it was older on December 28th, I think. So they changed it to be December 25th.
So is there two versions because one was an international version where there was more advertisements than the average screen hour?
I don't know. I don't know why there is two versions.
You get that a lot with ITV shows, particularly in the 80s, where they used to have fewer advert breaks. They've got a lot more now, so they can sell their stuff more internationally.
Oh, that makes sense. But I tell you, like most of the stuff, kind of waffle. Okay, kind of waffle.
Beautifully dressed waffle.
It's very enjoyable waffle. I have to say, it's they really get the atmosphere right. Bobby, I'm waiting for you to get in contact. Where are you?
What was interesting?
Sorry.
Well, sorry.
I was just going to say, I'll have to drop out when it's tea, so I won't be here for the whole thing, sadly.
Poppy Twist is asking for a Facebook link.
It's in the chat. I just put it in there.
There we go. Right.
What's for tea, Charlotte? Do you know yet? Have you got any tips?
Fajitas tonight. I know what it is because I asked. I was like, what time's tea roughly?
Fajita.
That's so much better than what I've got.
Fajita.
Who makes tea at the Charlotte household?
My mum.
Your mum is fajitas. That's very windswept and interesting for a woman of an older generation.
Oh, she can do all sorts. We had curry last night, so my mum's very good.
Curry is very English. What's everybody do? So Keith, are you on your own for Christmas then?
There are people in the flat, so we're gonna have Christmas. Everybody was planning on going somewhere and now can't, so we're gonna do something in the flat with so it's all good, but just different. I'm planning actually on I'm gonna watch. I've got loads of stuff to watch, so it's fine. I'm gonna be very busy.
What on earth is the Queen going to say this year? She's like, where do I start?
Well, if she doesn't say Annus Horribilis for this one, I don't know what will qualify, quite honestly.
I don't know what that means.
Hopefully
horrible
she'll take
year
away...
in Latin.
Oh.
Yes.
She said that when in '97 for obvious reasons.
Hopefully she'll take away Harry and Meghan's titles.
We've already had one Queen speech extra this year, so maybe she'll do an omnibus. And, get it all done. Yeah,
I don't think Eddie Izzard counts.
Bobby, are you getting in contact? I'm waiting to hear from you. Oh, somebody just came in. I think that's Ninja Knight. Is that Ninja Knight?
Poppy saying that she's messaged you. Yeah.
Message me. But I don't have the message. I don't understand.
So I put in the shared screen what we did at our church. Dan saw this picture already.
One second. I'll pull it up for you. I'm on the wrong screen. 1 second. Well, there's Ninja Knight, but I don't have the ship. Oh, there's a picture.
All right. What's the story, folks?
Hello there.
We took down we took down the painting tape that was blocking off the pews and replaced it with garland. So it doesn't feel as depressing now.
I'm delighted to see you were killing time until I came along, lads. Fair play.
I mean, that's essentially what we were doing. I'm trying to find how to contact Poppy. 1 second. Let me go to Messenger. Maybe there's a thing where you go.
You have to. If it's not from someone you know, then usually it's
request.
like
That's not there. No, let me check spam. I didn't know we had spam there. No, nothing there. Fine. Poppy, are you in Birmingham? I just did a search for you on Twitter and I came out with a Poppy Twist in Birmingham. Is that you?
Don't say any more information, Rabbi.
Yeah, don't dox them.
Yeah, but that's kind of general. Well,
calling fellow Brummy.
Yeah, listen, we got Dan here who can help you out.
So,
Ninja Knight, what are you doing for Christmas this year?
No real plans at the moment. Like Ireland is, they're starting to mess around again with all of this nonsense, lockdowns and stuff like that here again. I'll be visiting family. I don't care what the government say whatsoever. I mean, they've been up to whatever they want themselves. So it's over for me in terms of taking anything serious.
Is it true, Ninja Knight, that some geezer has got put in prison for not wearing a mask?
I haven't seen that now, no. Because a lot of people over here are just engaging in civil disobedience. So,
yeah.
I mean, in terms of taking anything serious. Am I echoing?
No. Okay, who is that? Did we all get it sorted out? Fine, Bobby. I don't know what to tell you. I think I'm just gonna have to start in a minute. I would really. Let me mute that. You sent me a message. I haven't got your message though. Like there's that link. Because a lot of people.
Is that just me that's hearing the playback, or is that everybody else?
Yeah, it's not me.
I'm hearing it too.
Yeah, we're all hearing it. So someone's got leak coming out. If that sounds rude.
Well, I turned up the tab, so even though
talking about that. Yeah, I'm not getting any requests at all. Let me check over here.
I don't recognise the name Poppy Twist.
Poppy, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to start without you. Why are you thanking me? Now I'm confused. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, it's not hard to confuse me, but like, I don't know what to tell you. All right, Poppy. I think no, that wasn't it. That's not it. 1 second. Let me try that. See if anything came out. No. Okay. Listen, everybody else, I think get your get your copies ready. I think we're going to go for the. Oh my god! Actually, I'm going to try and be playing both of them. So,
Poppy, if Poppy, check. See if you've got a VPN or something. Maybe that might work.
Right. Oh, again, if you just get in contact, I'll send you a link right away. Okay. I just got to get set up. So, because I've got to get the YouTube on. Fine. I'm going to do a version on my phone, right? So I'm going to do Blue Carbuncle. Show Blue Carbuncle. There we go. And we're going to go over there. Okay, fine. So that's set up. And I'm going to get the this version over here. Get one headphone in. And now I can't find. Oh, there. I'm going to press that button there. Give it a minute while it boots up. Leaks, and it's not the puppy. Oh, the puppy did leak a little bit on me today. But again, she just looks up with that cute little face, and you're like, oh, okay then.
What can you do?
Yeah, fine. Be away.
Even when they're older, Rabbi, they do that. It's not just when they're puppies. Even when they're older.
No, my old dog before he died was extremely incontinent. And his back legs wouldn't work, so he was always like scrabbling in his how can I put this? His filth. So I'm pulling up the episode. Got a little wizzy wheel going around. Thinking about it. Okay, fine. I am ready to go. Is everybody else ready to go?
Ready.
Yep.
Contenders ready. Yes.
Oh, Daniel Leach, you're getting grand for Christmas in the screw restrictions. I am with you, mate. I am with you. Of course, I do not officially endorse breaking the law. Fine. Okay. I'll do a 5-second countdown, and hopefully I'll be able to sync these up. Okay, here we go. Everybody ready? Fingers on the play button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play.
Happy New Year. Oh, wrong one. Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Very cool. I wish I had my phone with me so I could take a picture of how I have them both running.
I'll tell you what's cool about this episode is, I don't know whether you noticed, but it's directed by David Carson. And he started off doing like Coronation Street and moved on to this, but then he moved to Hollywood and did loads of episodic television, including a number of Star Trek episodes, including Yesterday's Enterprise, which is probably the best episode.
I heard the name.
And then directed the feature Star Trek Generations. So there you go. It all started off with Sherlock Holmes. There you have it.
I think this is a bit better. But this is the best opening for any Sherlock Holmes ever, right? This just nails it completely. So it's interesting. The YouTube version is about 3 seconds ahead already.
I'm getting I got the guest stars up at the moment.
Yeah. Frank Middlemass, Ken Campbell, by the way, was the BBC's choice for the 7th Doctor Who. They wanted him instead of Sylvester McCoy. But I think he would have scared people.
Have you seen his audition? It is fearsome.
Well, it was fearsome.
The Doctor Who audition, Dan, are you talking about?
Oh, I saw Sylvester McCoy's audition. I didn't see Ken Campbell's audition. He did an audition, really?
Yeah. They all. There was only 3 or 4 people that have got filmed auditions, but that's one of them.
Oh, all right.
Along with the guy from Return of the Jedi, Dermot something or other.
Ian McDermott, yeah.
Oh, then she's just died the other day. The actress Rosalind. Can't remember her name. Rosalind Knight. She died a few days ago.
No,
Are you talking about Ian McDermott there, Dan?
No, it's a guy called Dermot Crowley.
Right.
He auditioned for the 7th Doctor.
Tell you what, that's Dare. She's seen some troubles in her time, hasn't she?
Yeah, that's Rosalind Knight. She was in a few of the early Carry On movies and a regular in the sitcom Gimme, Gimme, Gimme with James Dreyfus and Kathy Burke.
I think it looks better when they just do the hair and they don't touch the face so much.
She was great in Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. She was the landlady, wasn't she?
Yeah. There's Bernard Holly.
I found the first cut. The longer version. I mean, the shorter version. They jump to Ken Campbell and the whoever she is in their passionate embrace.
Right.
Tell you what, mate, you're punching way above for you.
He certainly is. Yeah,
just a touch.
I assume you were talking about him.
Yeah.
He looks like a walking Toby jug, doesn't he? Bless him. That actor as well. He was in loads of things around that time. I haven't researched this at all, but I saw Bernard Holly in one of these uniforms. It was in The Cause of Access and various. Virtually everybody in this is going to have been in Doctor Who. We might as well get that out of the way.
we keep it about Sherlock,
but it's about British character actors, isn't it? It's about stalwarts of British television of the 70s and the 80s, of which Ken Campbell's a prime example, really.
Is he still alive? He's not, is he?
No, he passed away about 12 years ago.
And is it right that the actor playing Watson in this only did it for this first season and then all of the other, because they adapted pretty much every story, but they changed it.
He did the first 2 seasons. He did the Adventures, which was like 13 stories, and then they changed to Edward. What's the name? Can't remember. Edward Hardwick, right? So this is David Burke. Yeah. So I saw Edward Hardwick on the tube once, right? And I was a massive fan of this, so I wanted to say hello, but he blanked me. He just pretended, excuse me, he just kept reading his paper, I guess, you know.
Look at that face. I love that this is all shot on film. I love that it's all on location. It just looks beautiful.
You know why I think this version really works more? It's my favorite. Well, I think whatever you see in that time of life, when you're like that formative time of life, is always your favorite version. But I do love how this like kind of just brings those Sidney Paget original illustrations to life.
Very much so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They all look like they're just pulled out.
Well, one of the things that struck me watching this was the fact that and I hadn't sort of realised how much Benedict Cumberbatch had sort of borrowed from Jeremy Brett's version, because they are quite, you know, the actual style of performance is quite similar, whereas a lot of them play him sort of much more sort of as a you know, a sniffy toff kind of
Sorry, you were saying?
I'd argue in this, and watching it today made me think, I think you see a softer side of Holmes in this story, because you see him with Watson when he asked him to do a deduction, and then you obviously what he does at the end of it. And I think that actually shows Holmes having bits of humanity almost, which you don't usually see in the character.
Yeah.
It's sort of little signs of he's not just this, because I think sometimes in modern versions they go a little bit too much on the social sort of not understanding cues
Social
and being,
anxiety,
Right.
And I think it's nice in this to
Sociopath.
see little bits of you, like he is a human. He does have these little moments. He's not a machine, like
I think
almost.
that's a really
he
good
is.
point, and you do wonder why, watching Benedict Cumberbatch sometimes, in particular, why anybody would warm to that character.
Well, the thing was that the Jeremy Brett Holmes was just so iconic. It was like you feel, like forced to copy it. I think ever since it was so revolutionary at the time. Up until now, it was much more like Basil Rathbone with the
Deerstalker hat and all that kind of stuff.
It hadn't really mattered who'd played Sherlock Holmes in between, and let's be honest, a lot of people had. Even people like Peter Cushing, but nobody had made a real mark until Jeremy Brett came along.
Right. Well, yeah, Basil Rathbone. He was.
No, well, I meant in between Rathbone and Brett.
Right. You're Nick Sonny. I love the hand on the shoulder.
And the inspector in this, is it Lestrade or is it a different character in this one?
Different character.
Okay.
Lestrade is played by he was in everything. He was in absolutely everything. By the way, listen, if you want to see more of these, let me know. I'm happy to say this is just, I think, one of the greatest productions that British television has ever done. It's really just absolutely fantastic.
Wasn't it one of the first examples of them actually building a full? I mean, as regards, I think you look at sets like EastEnders, the current EastEnders set at Elstree, which is all facades and things like that. But I think this is the first example of them actually putting bricks and mortar together. I think a lot of
they basically built the street and they use it. And they use it in everything.
Yeah. And they rented it out as well to film units from other productions all over, I think mainly Europe, but I think for American TV movies too. There was a story behind it that Granada had got this whole thing going on.
I tell you, I just love that whole Edwardian Victorian Christmas thing.
Oh,
you got the Christmas carols playing on, what's that? It sounds like a harpsichord or something in the back. I love it. I love seeing the breeze. And
it's just the right side of cliche.
They used to say mince pies. Apparently, mince pies around this era, a little bit before, used to have meat in them.
Apparently,
which sounded kind of interesting. Would love to try that sometime.
Sherlock not looking all kempt for once. One of the best times to probably see him.
This whole thing was Jeremy Brett's thing, where he reaches for his first cigarette and he's scrabbling around for a lighter a match.
It's a bit with nail, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
sorry.
No, I was going to say this was what made me think what they'd borrowed in Sherlock, because there is an episode where he is pretty much dressed exactly the same as him here, and all sort of unkept and whatever. And it's quite interesting.
Bearing in mind, he's a morphine fiend as well.
Yeah, they do go with that. By the way, as somebody's audio is bleeding over. But there's a lot of stuff in the Cumberbatch Holmes that really just comes over. Was it the first time Moriarty, Mycroft says 221B? That's exactly the way they said it the first time in Sherlock Holmes. Fine, I'm going to go around muting each one of us to find out where the bleed's coming from. Okay, it's not you, Father Miller. It's not you, Keith.
I know, I've got it muted.
It's not. Oh, is it that? It might be that. Okay, whatever it is, it stopped. By the way, I do like the whole season's greetings there. Basically, he's like the insane radical student, out of the box thinking thing. But I do just like the way that he's the traditional. He was the archetypal out the box hero, which I just really, really enjoy.
Well, yeah, because if you think about when Doyle was writing these books, science was like it was starting to go, wasn't it, in Victorian times? Yeah. But I think in a way,
I mean, I say that I think the thing that makes the Sherlock version of Sherlock so good is how incredibly accurate it is to the books, right? Because Sherlock Holmes was always like very, very cutting edge science for the era, anyway.
And am I right? Did they manage to adapt more of the stories than anyone else has done to date?
Yeah, I think they did something like 38 of the 52 or something. They did one of towards the last season. They did like 2 stories in one episode for a couple of times, but yeah,
Granada and now allowed them flexibility too. So they allowed them to make TV movies and various other things, because obviously so much of Holmes were short stories. There was only 4, I think, full-length novels, and so those are the ones that they adapted into feature-length productions. They were really disciplined with it, and they treated it as the jewel in their crown, really. I think this would have been a couple of years before, who was it? Before London Weekend, was it? Or no, Thames. Thames put on Poirot, didn't they? And they
Poirot was the early 90s, I think, wasn't it? With
I think it was 89, but I could be wrong. Okay. And the idea was that had a similar sort of the production values, and they took a similar approach to dramatising the stories too. Sort of, it'll get how many screen minutes the story demands within reason.
Right.
I have to admit, it has made me want to go and watch more of them, because this I was actually really pleasantly surprised as to the production values and sort of how well this actually worked. So great recommendation, Rabbi.
I'm so glad you're liking it. I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
Well, as I said, it's on BritBox, so I plan to watch all 4 seasons, I think it is.
Right. They get a little bit weirder, but they always stay very, very book accurate. And if you watch this and you watch the Sherlock version, you just see there's so many things that they copy out from one to the other. It's
and that's the thing, as I was saying, I watched the Peter Cushing version, and there's a lot that's very similar. The lines are very similar too in both versions.
I think that's though, because if you look at Holmes, like the way he was written in the book, like he was such a sharp, accurate. Like that's what I've always loved in the books. Like even though he doesn't talk a lot, you can get so much of his character just from 3 lines. So I think that's why it works so well when you transfer it.
But Keith, if you're going to go back and watch more, and you want to see ones with Lestrade, I recommend the 6 Napoleons. Actually, if you want to have a really interesting evening, watch the 6 Napoleons back to back with the 6 Thatchers, which is the modern version of it. It's really clever. It's really clever.
Oh, what's that actor's name now?
Well, I'll look it up.
Which one is this? Is he Inspector Bradstreet? Is it? This is a guy called Brian Miller, if that's the character.
Right? Oh God! Shall I mention? Yes, husband of Elizabeth Sladen from a certain TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew.
Oh, really?
I knew he was familiar. Right. Yeah, Brian Miller.
Now I see it.
So everybody in this is going to be familiar from something or other.
So Charles Gray played Mycroft in this. Eric Porter was Moriarty. Not in this episode. Just played Lestrade. Dennis Lill was Inspector Bradstreet. So this isn't Bradstreet. Who is it? Maybe they go through the episodes. Yeah, I can't believe the case has been referred to the sizes on the evidence of he was there. Right? Like, what the hell?
But this is the police in Holmes. Yeah, but this is how the police were always written in Holmes. They were just utter buffoons. Like, utter buffoons. So, I'm not surprised.
That's what really turned me on about this version. It was the first time I've seen Watson as an intelligent guy, which I really liked.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. Yeah, it's such a treat, like much as I like the Rathbone Bruce ones. It's nice to see in this, Watson be less of a, not a buffoon. It's like,
right.
He's a striking man, isn't he? You can't help but look at him. So much charisma. That face.
Yeah.
And he sort of growls every word. It's sort of this weird sort of
Yes.
animalistic. Yeah, but it's not like he's shouting. It's this weird sort of almost animalistic, but not snarling type of voice.
Well, growing up, he was my Sherlock Holmes. This is what I grew up watching, and I mean, even it was always a little bit above my age-old pay grade at that time, but it was still magnetic the way you just sort of watch this authority figure own the scenes.
But he was so anti-authoritarian authority figure.
By authority, I mean he knows everything, right? He's way ahead of them. Like he's an authority figure in the sense that he knows what's going on beyond everyone else, and it's kind of like drawing the parallels to the Doctor again, but it's the smartest chap in the room. That's how I always.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and what I love about this scene with Watson, it's like he must have seen Holmes do this 100 times, like 1,000 times at this point, but he still is amazed. He still has that moment of how have you done it, and I think that's such an important part of their sort of partnership. That Watson is always amazed.
Yeah. You don't see it so much in this episode, but again, another feature of this production of it is the genuine, deep friendship between Holmes and Watson. Like, there's one episode where he says, was it the illustrious client? Really great episode where he says, Watson, I need you to become an expert in Ming vases or something. And he's like, okay. And he just goes to the National Library, like spends a day there and does it.
Excellent. I'll tell you what, I really like the set for 221B as well. It's a great set that they've got there. The detail and everything is, it's up to sort of movie standard, isn't it?
It really is. It really and this was the first series. It's not like it was. They've had must have a lot of confidence in this. Have you ever been to the Sherlock Holmes Museum at 221B? Even though it's not 221B. So here's something that really annoys me that they don't do. They should have an augmented reality app that you could log onto on your phone. And when you look at the different bits of the house, you should see actors there playing out bits. That would make it like a must.
Yeah, fantastic idea.
Yeah. Well, no doubt they're probably suffering like a lot of other hospitality businesses at the moment, I guess. But that would be a good upgrade for sure.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Also, I like that he's not speaking really fast when he does the deduction. Sometimes the actors who play Holmes can fall into that trap a bit, and it's still fast, but it's not like machine gun.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true.
I saw exactly the same thing. It was in the Wyndham Theatre. Jeremy Brett on stage. It was the mystery of Sherlock Holmes. I can't remember what it's called, but the idea was that that Sherlock Holmes was Moriarty, and he had invented him. Because he was bonkers, essentially. But it was Jeremy Brett and Edward Hardwick. And really, really good.
Oh, wow.
He sounds very like, Matron, doesn't he?
I love it. Yeah, he rolls the words around his mouth.
So he never really steers properly into camp, but he makes very specific choices with this performance, Jeremy Brett.
Well, he's very theatre darling, the way he does do it, though. You can tell that was his background, the actor.
Yeah.
By the way, just a small.
That's how they spoke back then.
I'm very, very excited this Friday. We're having a smoked turkey for dinner. Because my son bought us a smoker. So we're having first time I had a smoked turkey. I love smoking. It's incredible. A1 Pony First Class, how you doing? What's up, people? Happy Grimbo, Merry Festivus. We answer to all. We answer to everything here.
Oh dear, we're doing that commentary thing of getting into actually watching it.
I know. I was just thinking of things to say, but this is where I learned what a trap was from this very episode. I'm like, oh, that's apparently we're a goose poop. Oh, I guess some kind of foul poops out of the trap.
I mean, the thing is, though, even when nobody's speaking in this, because Jeremy Brett's got that quality that John LeMessurier had, and various other actors that probably all started on the stage, where they wouldn't even need to get a line of dialogue, and they would demand that you look at them and be engrossed by the fact that they are there.
Well, that was the problem. We're supposed to be talking, but he's so mesmerizing.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's mesmerizing whether he's speaking or not.
I did find it is.
Sorry.
We'll get it right one day, Keith.
Yes.
No, I do find it interesting that for Holmes, who notoriously doesn't like material things, he's almost captivated by this jewel. I did find that interesting.
Yeah, he didn't want to give it back.
No,
yeah. No, I was going to say I think actually this is actually quite nicely directed, because like that transition just then from the duel to then it being, where they were studying it, and you got some camera movement and whatever. So again, for television of the 80s, that's actually, pretty decent.
Yeah, this was what, 84? Yeah, 84. It was just such a superior production, just about everything else on TV. I don't think Coronation Street had their permanent set yet.
No,
it was all that like dodgy, in studio set.
Well, it was a deliberate attempt as well to make something that would be very, very saleable globally. It was none of this was done by accident. The quality of the adaptations, the people. I mean, you mentioned David Carson earlier on, but everybody who worked on this, they were either people who had huge success before or would go on to great success. So they were hand-picked people rather than just staff people they grabbed off the car park at Granada.
So I was never really clear what happens to the stone in this. It seems like he keeps it, but
yeah, he talks about putting it in this museum. So I don't know if that's where it ends up.
Like, doesn't he need to give it back to the Countess?
And how does he get the money, this guy, then, if the stone doesn't get
exactly? He must give the stone up. Right?
See, this is why I like the. Yeah. I was going to say, this is why I like the Peter Cushing one a little bit better, because it does tie that up.
Oh, yeah? What they say there?
What they say? I mean, you see them return the stone. And I mean, you get a little bit. I think the ending's a little bit better than the one here.
Yeah, because with this one, I just kind of made the assumption when you see Matey here released from, him returning to his family, I just assumed that he must have handed it back. But you're right, it is somewhat ambiguous as to what he actually does with it here, isn't it?
Right.
Some fine police work now happening.
Bit of roughing up. Never did anybody harm. Other than roughing up.
From the Gene Hunt School of Policing, I say.
Right. Run with your game, Sonny. You're on my manor.
So I'm not that familiar with the novel of this, but was Lestrade in that one, and they just decided to not go, to just go with a generic inspector in this one, or is that in keeping with the?
Lestrade wasn't in every novel, because I've read what I can of the short, and I can't remember how many, but it's a bit like, how actually Moriarty didn't appear in a lot of the stories, but he's in every film and television going. I think Lestrade might be one of that similar situation of he was in enough books to get a name, but he wasn't in every book.
Right. And that makes sense.
Colin Jevons.
Colin Jevons, yeah.
Yeah, so he was in everything. He wasn't like slimy guy. That was him. He had every slimy guy role ever.
Played a lot of caretakers, I think, if I remember.
How old was Brett when he was in these? Because you can't gauge to look at him.
I think he was 50 when this first season started, I believe.
Been around a while, definitely.
Let's have a look.
He's been in Battlestar Galactica before.
Jeremy Brett.
That's the star from this version.
Yeah. He was born in 33. So what was this? 84? So yeah.
51.
So but when they were shooting it, he was probably around 50. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Looking good.
Doesn't look it. I was going to say. I was thinking it's quite a young version of Sherlock Holmes, but there you go.
I tell you, Nicholas Briggs, who does the voice of the Daleks, does Sherlock Holmes on audio. Very, very good. I think he's one of. He's in my top 3 Holmes.
He's great in the part, and I downloaded one of that. I have never bought them, but I downloaded one when they did a free Christmas story. Fun enough, it was a new story, and it was really good. And I always meant to go back to them because I really enjoyed it.
They do some very good sets with them.
Same with the Clive Merrison one at the BBC. They did. I can't remember who produced those. It might have been Dirk Maggs actually, but I think they adapted all of them for radios with Clive Merrison and Michael. What's Judi Dench's husband? What was his name? Michael Williams. Yeah, Clive Merrison and Michael Williams. They're supposed to be even more faithful than these.
So did he?
Sorry,
I was going to say. So did he play this then for like a sort of decade across?
We were compelled to eat it. I love that line.
I see. So there was the Adventures, then the Return, and then the Case Book of Sherlock Holmes, and then the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. So essentially, it was like sort of 4 different versions.
They named them after the short story collection.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
And the TV movie sort of dotted in and around.
42. Okay, of the 60 stories, apparently 42 were adapted in this series.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Wow. That's got to be a bit of a record, I would think.
Right. I think the ones the reason they stopped is the ones that left just weren't really adaptable. Right. They're basically people talking in a room.
Right. Yeah.
It was all with a view to it being saleable, so stuff that they couldn't. And they, again, when it came to Poirot, it was exactly the same. But David Suchet pushed and pushed and pushed to get all of Poirot made.
Oh,
whereas with this, of course, Jeremy Brett, about halfway through the run of this, Jeremy Brett got very, very ill. I can't remember what he got. He got either a kidney or a liver disorder. He also likes a drop or two of the drink, from what I remember. So it was quite tragic what happened to. He did die relatively young.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know
that. So Dan, was it the Poirot stories? Were they done by the same production team and studio?
I don't think they were, but they were made by Thames, but I think it was to the same business model, if you know what I mean.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's something else I need to go and visit because I've not really watched many of those.
It looks just as crisp and rich as when you watch these. And Suchet is, I'm not a huge fan of Christie stuff, but Suchet is just amazing.
Oh, he's the master. Yeah, I mean, this is the good thing with period stuff is you can kind of, if it's well made in the first place and well acted, you can kind of watch it whenever and it works, right? Because it's period. So, yes.
Yeah, because also because it's period, they have to purely rely on the story. They haven't got effects. They haven't got so many other things to distract. They literally just have to make sure the story's as good as it can be because it's period.
Yeah, for sure. God, more things to watch in the never-ending list of things to watch.
Well, I don't. Detective stuff doesn't do it for me generally. You see, so it has to be on the strength of whoever's in the centre of it. And Jeremy Brett's one of the few who I can watch. Peter Falk is another, particularly in the early Columbo.
Peter Falk's fantastic. There's a movie which I not many people like, but and it's not really enjoyable, but it's a very good movie called Wings of Desire by Wim Wenders, where Peter Falk is playing himself. And he plays him perfectly. It is, as you would imagine. I was going to say the mid '80s, the mid '90s, we had just incredible adaptation, period piece adaptation. I was thinking there's Jeeves and Wooster. There are so many good of these good things that were just really spot on.
Yeah, that was another example. I've never seen Jeeves and Wooster.
Oh my God, they're so good! They're so good. By the way, I also saw Are You Being Served's Christmas specials are on YouTube. We should do a watch along of one of those. That's gonna be hilarious.
I love those. In fact, I've been thinking about picking up the box set of Are You Being Served.
Yeah, I'm going to hide in the corner. I've never seen Are You Being Served.
I love it. I've been watching the Christmas specials in BritBox, wondering when the hell they're going to put the whole series on there, because they've got it on the American BritBox, but not in the UK one. I cannot understand it.
I'm now thinking of the Santa Claus that drops its pants.
So, whose suggestion was it that we watched this? Was it based on it being on BritBox that this has come to everybody's attention again?
Just going back on what you said there, Dan, about detective films, I think that's why the Sherlock Holmes there that stars Robert Downey Jr. is so good, because it strikes a nice balance between action and the detective work. Because I know an awful lot of people, like, for detective stuff, they find it very cerebral, and certainly the Peter Falk Columbo is very cerebral, and it does require a lot of focus. And I think that does strike a nice balance. I think more detective movies definitely need that balance of action and the cerebralness of it, because I think that's why they're going with that sort of idea for the Batman. But it appears if they did it with Ben Affleck's Batman, it'd probably
with me, it's because I can see the framework of the average. And but, don't get me wrong, I'm not Sherlock Holmes. I'm no great analytical mind. But when it comes to detective stories, when you can see the framework of them, as I can, that very few of them ever surprise me. I've got to be able to latch onto something, and if it's an eccentric person in the middle of it, or somebody who is slightly out there, out of step in the way that Brett plays Sherlock Holmes here, he doesn't play him as alien as such, but he certainly plays him as if he'd rather be doing something else, or feels that he's suffering it in some way, and it's the same with Peter Falk coming from the other direction with Columbo. How he plays him, he's almost as if he's a policeman, kind of, because he's got nothing else better to do, but he really should be doing something else.
Yeah, I know. We see that point there 100%, and like you're saying there, it's like even the Poirot stuff, kind of detective work. It's like, why is anybody fearing this guy? You know what I mean? What's the fear? And I think that's why for me the Robert Downey Jr. one is so good, because he is a physical match. You know what I mean? He does have that ability to fight bigger guys even, and I think that's an exciting tactic that they use in that movie.
Yeah, and even though it's a broader performance, he understands the character. Yeah, he really does.
Well, they keep... Sorry.
We're going to stop doing this. You go first.
You go first.
No, just quickly on the Downey films. I also think, though, because we were talking about Watson earlier, Keith was actually in this. I think in that movie, it does a very good job of saying how Watson's past experience with the war and sort of his issues with gambling as well. I think that movie adds so much to Watson, and that's why I love those movies.
Well, I think Jude Law's performance, Jude Law's always kind of gives it a performance where you're not really sure if he's the bad guy or if he has some sort of really dark demons, and I very much so like Jude Law, and I think he does give a great performance in those two movies, and hopefully the third one coming, because like that Watson, I really enjoy Martin Freeman's Watson, but Martin Freeman's comes off like a nagging wife at times, whereas Jude Law's comes off as he's his own man, kind of, and I really like that version of Watson. He's a great foil for Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock.
Do you think then that, because I'm often complaining about Superman movies and TV shows, I believe that Superman on screen is only as good as the lowest that you put him with. Do you think it's the same with Holmes as well, up to a point that if you haven't got the right Watson there, then it doesn't really matter. Well, okay, so it doesn't really matter who plays Holmes, but you're always you've only ever got half the equation. You need to work just as hard on that character.
100% agree with that one, because I think that the partnership between those two is absolutely, it's the most important part. I think it's paramount. But that's why I think Freeman and Cumberbatch work so well together, because they are a good combination. But I do agree that I think that Law and Downey Jr., there's just the button of heads and the ignorance, I suppose, of Downey's Sherlock Holmes really comes to life, because Jude Law is so proper, and I think that really.
And do you think the natural? I know that first Holmes film that you're talking about, that was made probably around 10, 12 years ago. Yes. But even so, that the weight of a greater age also lends. So I love Benedict Cumberbatch in that. I love what him and Martin Freeman did, but they were quite young men. Yes. Whereas with this, life lived. It's just sold a bit better by people who are of middle age. I think.
Well, it does. I mean, Downey's performance gives it an ability to kind of cloak the fact that he's an absolute nut job, whereas Benedict Cumberbatch is like, he comes across as a pure and utter sociopath, and it's like that's very hard to link in with a Holmes because he comes off so unlikable. And at times, you know, it's
a hard thing to sustain a series over a long period of time, and it would be a very hard thing to do what they did with this and to adapt. You know, whatever Keith said. I mean, that's like 75%, probably more of the stories with that without evolving the character too.
I totally agree with Keith there on that one, because it is incredibly difficult to stretch that kind of behavior out over a long amount of time, you know. So I mean, that's why for me, like the likes of Poirot and Columbo is so successful, because those characters, there is a little bit of difference to them, but again, they're kind of playing the same kind of idea most of the time, and I think it doesn't, for the TV performance, it doesn't get boring when you know what you're used to. Whereas I think I suppose they're trying to be mini movies in itself with the Benedict Cumberbatch
Here's
movie.
another thing I like about this character as well, you know, is the fact when you see Holmes, because he gets his hands dirty, and when you see him mixing with urchins and in street markets and things like that, you know, compared to the other circles that he moves in.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a very special announcement. Charlotte's tea's ready. It's for heat.
Charlotte, who am I going to interrupt now?
I know. So, thank you for inviting me, Rabbi. It's been lovely to be on stream with you guys.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Charlotte.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I got a question.
Sorry?
I got a question. Has anybody ever seen or heard of 1976 Sherlock Holmes' younger brother?
Yes, Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman, Don DeLuise, Gene Wilder, Leo McKern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that film. I love that film. I love it. I love it.
Well, was it 2 nights ago? I watched the Michael Caine Sherlock Holmes Without a Clue, which is just lovely. I really enjoyed it. Weirdest Sherlock Holmes.
Morning, I looked up. What about young Sherlock Holmes? Is that what you were just going to say?
No, I was going to say
okay.
You probably have Rupert Everett played Sherlock Holmes in 2004 as it was basically a footman with a foot fetish. It was a really weird version of Sherlock Holmes. That I think there was only that and one other version in between Jeremy Brett and Cumberbatch.
I kind of my introduction to Sherlock Holmes, believe it or not, was actually that Young Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah,
which was called Young Sherlock Holmes and the Pyramid of Fear was the title that we had here in the UK.
Oh, we didn't have that. It was just Young Sherlock Holmes over here.
Yeah, I know. I think they were. It was a marketing thing, trying to sort of cash in on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom kind of thing.
Well, you know who produced that?
Spielberg. Yeah. So
and he did the Young Indiana Jones too, I believe.
Right. That makes sense.
Some characters just don't need a young version of themselves. They really don't. And Sherlock is that character.
Well, they had to completely sort of change the mythology as well, because obviously he and Holmes, as we well know in the Conan Doyle stories, don't meet until they're adults. But of course, they've got them as kind of dorm mates at in high school or whatever. So it's kind of weird.
Like 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, it was quite a fun movie at the time, but yeah,
it was
kind of. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I remember I watched it when I was a kid. I was surprised they didn't make it into a series.
But yeah. By the way, my screen is frozen, so I'm not sure where we're up to in the episode.
Okay, we are. I am 39 minutes 37 seconds in.
Okay, exactly the same with me.
I'm only about 20. Half a minute ahead. That's all right.
Right.
I've got a whirly thing why it figures out what it's doing. So
they just found out the geese came from Mrs. Oakshot of where was it? So I remember I recognized it, which I thought was kind of cool at the time. Of Elephant and Castle something. Oh, it's also about the Tom Baker's 1982 version. Maybe we should do a watch along of that. Is that on YouTube?
I like that. It was until really recently. I grabbed a rip of it. It's quite hard going, though, to be honest. Because it's so, the opposite of this, how expansive this all feels because of the sets and the location work. That's really heavily studio bound, so it's harder to hold your attention.
Did anyone ever see the Roger Moore one, Sherlock Holmes in New York?
Yes.
Yeah.
I say, Holmes, they have their tea in pouches here.
Yeah.
Who played Watson in that? I can't remember.
Patrick McNee, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Is that the one?
That's why they used him in a
key, and he can't get it, and Combs crushes it to get his feet. I can't remember.
I can't remember, but you're absolutely right. It is Patrick McNee, and it's kind of interesting because, of course, they in A View to a Kill, they use Patrick McNee and Roger Moore again in sort of playing similar roles. So yeah,
right.
They were good friends. Apparently, they had been for a lot. Roger Moore was friends with everybody.
Well, yeah.
When you dig into it, everybody seems to know him.
Everybody knows him, and everybody likes him. Right, he's one of the most, and that's why he basically became James Bond, because they just Cubby Broccoli liked him. They hung out with each other.
They knew that if he committed to it, that he wouldn't let them down, and they'd known him. They'd known him socially for the best part of 15 years, I think, maybe longer.
Yeah, no, that's fair. By the way, bit of a shameless Sherlockian plug, but I did do a podcast a few years back on Movie Heaven, Movie Hell, and we had a Sherlockian expert called Eddie Webb who wrote the book Dr. Watson is Not an Idiot, and he comes and we talk about the very best and the very worst of Sherlock Holmes movies. So that is.
I'm intrigued.
Do you want me to send you a link? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Put it in the chat.
Okay. Let me.
This is where we
get
to pure theatre.
Sorry, I know I'm being a bit of a whore with that stuff, but you've got to do it, right?
I don't think anybody could ever come on my channel and apologize for plugging themselves. I am the most blatant.
Yeah, this hits a real sweet spot, doesn't it? Between being cinematic and expansive, and being all the things you want a TV show to be really close and intimate, and have all the best things about stage plays as well.
Right.
Oh,
sure. I get to see the holly and the red candles. I'm just such a sucker for Christmas. I really am. I love it.
So last summer, I had a chance finally to listen to the entire Sherlock Holmes collection, read by Stephen Fry.
Oh, that must be good.
It was. It's like 62 hours worth.
I mean, his Harry Potter is pretty much perfect. Like his books on tape of Harry Potter are way better than the movies.
Really?
Oh, they're so. Have you never heard that they're so good?
No, I did. I think I heard one of Jim Dale's.
Sorry,
I heard one of Jim Dale is the voice of the other ones.
So I've heard them both. This is so much better.
Well, he has the perfect voice for narration.
Right, but he does all the he changes the voice for each of the characters.
Oh, okay.
And he's just very, very good, and he understands the characters as well. Yeah, so this bit here is taken right out on the City Pages illustrations. You see it at the end in the titles.
And do you think, when I look back, we mentioned Roger Moore a moment ago. I do love Roger Moore, but I think that it has got to the point where before Brett was cast, they were, and Tom Baker's a prime example. You could say, production after production of Sherlock Holmes cast people who were either really, really famous, who'd always wanted to play it, or just wildly eccentric people who weren't necessarily suited for the part. Whereas here, they dialed it right back, and they just got a bloody good actor.
Yeah, right actor who was just perfect for the role. So, okay, well, now we're getting into the guy's plan, like, what's his name, Ken Campbell's plan. It makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, so he steals the blue carbuncle, right? and then he's scared that he has it in his pocket, so that he goes to his sister's, gets one of the geese, makes the goose eat it, and then he takes the goose home, but he takes the wrong goose, and opens the goose up. Why? It was in there for like 25 minutes. Like, okay, like how's it shoving it down the goose's throat helped him in any way? I guess we stopped everybody there.
I think you know what? I think it's the same thing that you get now with Christmas specials. I think Conan Doyle had the same problem to come up with something that was Christmassy within the boundaries of the world that he created and that he told his stories in. And the more you do that, or the more you work at it, you have to be a bit outrageous, a bit more outrageous than usual. A lot, fair few Sherlock Holmes stories, in my experience, are a little bit outrageous. But yeah, that obviously is pretty outrageous. Nobody would ever do that.
Oh, thanks, Rabbi. I see you've shared the YouTube version. It is also on all the podcatchers as well, but I thought YouTube would be easier to do.
Got everybody's.
That was a great podcast. That was Hit Movie Heaven, Movie Hell. I loved it. Years before I met you, Keith, I was listening to that show.
Oh right, were you really? Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good to know. I had no idea, Dan. I didn't know that anybody listened to it.
That's the problem with doing this stuff. You never. I mean, like that's something good about YouTube. You have to say, because like when you're working at home, you never know if anybody's ever going to read your stuff, right? Or like see it or do it. But yeah, the good thing about YouTube is you interact with people straight away.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, as I said, I was glad to get this guy on because he really was, having written this book, he was quite the authority on Sherlock Holmes, and we just thought there's been really good movies and really bad movies, so it's ideal for movie heaven, movie hell.
Yeah, perfect. Look at the poor goose's face. Your goose is cooked, son. Get it going.
Yeah, like this is. It was so disturbing for me at the time. It still relatively is. Yeah, like how's your troubles over? Like, just explain it to me.
I'm just imagining. What did you do at work today, darling? Well, I got this goose.
Ninja Knight.
The goose is cooked.
The goose is cooked.
Okay, now I've got 1 second. I've nearly got over his channels in the chat. If everybody could go and subscribe to any ones they haven't subscribed yet, Keith, yours is Home Media Minefield, right?
Yes, Home Media Minefield. Thank you.
1 second.
Nice one, Rabbi. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
And also British Isles as well.
Hey, give me a second. Home Media Minefield.
Sharing the Christmas love.
You just reviewed the Tenant.
Say again?
You just reviewed the Tenant 4K. Still haven't got more than half hour into that movie.
Yeah, I've done an unboxing of it. I haven't actually reviewed it yet, but yes, we did a quick unboxing of the version with the booklet.
Like I'm half hour into it. Does it get better?
Yeah, it's. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, no, don't spoil it. I just want to know if it was.
It's decent.
And the next one is
Bit of a mind bend.
British Isles.
British Isles, EYLES. Yeah, thank you. That's the short films.
Oh, I've got to check these out. I haven't seen these.
And then let's see what's out there as the podcast, the other podcast.
Right,
plug it all.
That's on. Oh no, that's not on downstairs. That's how do I get to that?
What's that?
Is that on YouTube or is that a?
Oh no, sorry. Let's see what's out. There's a podcast. Yeah, it's Spotify, iTunes, all of that stuff. Oh, thank you for sharing all this. That's amazing.
I should have done this before. Before then, so it was out there podcast.
That's Star Trek and The Mandalorian. We're big covering on that, or have been.
So the rumor is now there's a the Luke Skywalker show in the mix.
His merchandise is not selling well whatsoever. Even here in Ireland, like where we don't get discounts, his merchandise is on discount. That's unheard of.
Oh wow.
I'm going to say just a particular guy. Maybe we should say his name was Jake in the last couple of films.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm confused.
Just have to pop off, gents. All right. Thanks very much for having me, Rabbi. All right.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
Merry
I'm not
Christmas.
here for much longer. Merry Christmas, guys. Or if I don't talk to you soon.
Same to you, Ninja Knight.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you.
So the other day I was in a toy store and they had retro Star Wars toys in the boxes. I could have got a Han Solo from Return of the Jedi for $150.
Wow, that's still a lot of money. I mean, I have to say, it's a lot of money. I would much rather get like a 12-inch figure. Lonnie Webb's here. How you doing, Lonnie? I do like this when he this. Oh, by the way, I like that you see Rena Adler's picture in there and his.
Yes, that was a nice little Easter egg where he pulled open the drawer and they've got the Irene Adler photo. Yeah, because I take it they've done that episode as well, right?
That was the first one.
Scandal in Bohemia. Is it Scandal in Bohemia?
Yeah, that was the first one he did.
Yeah, cool. No, nice touch.
Yeah.
I see. I love that. I love the little details like that. That's what's important.
Right. Again, there's just like it's incredible, authenticity. That bird is getting smaller and smaller with each time. It's shrinking down. I feel bad for them. Blimey, have they had a chance to get the boat and the doll? Probably not. So I guess he must have given back the jewel then, right? Oh,
he must have done. Yeah, I mean, it's not very clear, is it? But he must have done.
Well, they would have let him go because they got more evidence on Ken Campbell now, right? Because he's more super. I mean, this is so circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, I mean, like Charlotte said, he shows a lot of compassion here.
Right.
It's sort of uncharacteristic, right?
Actually, I do like it when he lets the bad guys go because he's just anti-authoritarian.
Just to let you know, I'm looking at BritBox right now. The episode on there is 51 minutes as well.
That's really interesting. That is interesting. Oh, there you go. So that was a fun little. That's a little.
So you've got Sherlock Holmes on BritBox.
We do.
So you've got Sherlock Holmes, and Are You Being Served on American BritBox?
Yeah.
And Blake
bloody hell, this is not fair.
Hey, you guys are all doing well. You guys are all doing well.
We need to get a VPN.
Honestly,
and
I only get the services I get without a VPN because it's just a pain.
We just got the last few seasons of One Foot in the Grave.
Oh wow!
And I just discovered that recently. I love that show. At the beginning of it, I was thinking of the Christmas gnomes, where he orders 200 of them.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
I know, but you know what? I really should put the Father Ted Christmas special into the. Love that. I love it. I love all this stuff. Fine. Okay. So listen, this is a little annual tradition I have every year. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, everybody in the chat for joining. Is there anything would like to bring up or say or plug or do before we wrap up?
Apart from saying Merry Christmas and
Merry Christmas, one and all.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, and
please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you subscribe to my channel, make sure you still subscribe. YouTube, I went up today. That's nice. YouTube has been doing shenanigans. And I'm going to bid you all a very good evening on this 22nd of December, coming close. Only 3 more days on the Advent calendar to go before the big day. So, and Gremlins is coming for Keith and Home in your mind. But I'm going to say,